So today I'm once again looking at a question posed by Lenora Cope Miners, who always seems to be the first person to respond to these things. But hey, I guess that's how it goes, right? So here we go. An application uses a two-dimensional array named population. Which of the following assigns the highest column subscript to the high call variable? And the wording here is, I think, a little bit strange. I think a better way to put it would be, how do you find the highest index stored in a of a column, or basically what is the highest, the highest index that's found in the columns of the two-dimensional array population. Anyway, so I devised this little program. First of all, let's get rid of two of these right off the bat. C and D. There's nothing called get upper column. There's nothing called upper column. Those don't even exist. I didn't even put them in here. But get upper bound 0 and get upper bound 1 are both possible choices here. So I wrote this kind of nifty program that'll kind of demonstrate which one it is. Okay, so I created this two-dimensional array up here, and you'll notice that, well, without giving away, it's kind of hard not to give away the answer, right? But there are 4 rows and 2 columns here. So we have, if you visualize it, we have 1 and 3 on the top row, then the second row is 2 and 4, third row is 5 and 7, fourth row is 6 and 8. That kind of gives away the answer. I guess it doesn't, but anyway, I wrote this thing to show you what the real answer is. So we should expect that the highest, index for rows would be 3, because we're working with 0 to 3 here, and there are 4 rows, therefore the highest index would be 3 for the rows. But the question asked us about columns, and since there are only 2 columns, 0 and 1, we should get 1 for that. Now, I went into this already knowing what the answer was, so it was sort of, for me at least, just kind of proving what I already knew. But for people who don't know, this is a good way to check it. Oh my god, I can't. I made this so thin, I can't move it. Anyway, looking at the code here, basically what I did is I defined this two-dimensional array. I created a variable high call as an integer. Then I have these 2 radio buttons that you can see here, which basically are just saying, if you select the one that says get upper bound 0, which is called radio button 0, it sets it to population.getUpperBound0. And if you click the other one, it does the other thing, and then it dumps it into the text box that I didn't bother to rename because this is just an example. So anyway, if this is the one, if getUpperBound0 is supposed to display columns, I should get 1, and if it displays rows, I should get 3, and it gives me nothing because I didn't click the mouse. It gives me 3, because getUpperBound0 is for the rows, or for the first part, and then this is 1. So the answer, I forgot which letter it is now. The answer is B. If high call equals population.getUpperBound1. So you can think of it as like when we talk, right, in English, at least, I don't know how this works in certain other languages, but we always talk about rows and columns. We don't really talk about columns and rows, right? So if you think like a computer thinks and you start with zeros, then rows would be 0 and columns would be 1, right? The first and the second. So there you go. The answer is, if you want to find out what the highest index of the columns you have, or like, in other words, how many columns are present, you can say get upper bound 1 for columns. And if you want to find out how many rows you have, you do get upper bound 0. But in this case, it's get upper bound 1. I hope you enjoyed the video.